I'm going to go ahead and mute myself until about 2 minutes before.
Okay, I'll do the same.
Thanks. Hi, Joe. This is Jamie Acton with IIT. Can I ask that you mute your sound until we get ready to start?
I'm certainly going to try.
Thanks, Joe. Good afternoon. My name is Jamie Acton, and we thank you for joining this Illinois Institute of Technology Alumni Association series called Hawk Talk. Our presenter today is Hilary McCafferty from Robert Half Technologies, and they are a staffing solutions firm throughout the country focusing on the technology realm. So with that, I'm going to turn our presentation over to Hilary today.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here today, and I appreciate all of your time. I'm here today to talk about what it takes to land your next job. As we know, the process can be difficult. It can be confusing, whether you're searching for a new position by necessity or by choice. But the good news is that in any economy, there are opportunities for skilled candidates. Specialized talent is almost always short in supply, and companies are often willing to go great lengths to hire individuals with the in-demand skills and experience that they're looking for. But even if you have the in-demand skills, you won't get far unless you know how to attract the attention of hiring managers. It's critical to market yourself effectively. And today we're going to talk about how to do just that. So today, we're going to start by discussing ways of uncovering job opportunities, including job boards, social media, and working with a recruiter. I'll offer tips on how to network with other professionals and uncover job leads as well. Next, I'll provide tips and advice for crafting a strong resume. I'll talk about the interview process, including phone and video interviews, which are becoming increasingly common as well. I'll help you prepare for common interview questions you're likely to be asked. And lastly, we'll discuss how to negotiate your starting salary once you're offered the position. Before we get started, I thought it might be fun to talk about some of the common job search myths. No doubt you have received lots of advice over the years from a variety of sources about how to best find a new position. Unfortunately, some of the advice may be more myth than reality. Let's take a look at some of those big myths out there. It's a mistake to overlook temporary positions. These assignments can last for weeks or even months at a time, providing a source of income and a chance to network and build new skills. They can help improve your chances on the job hunt. In addition, an increasing number of employers are viewing temporary assignments as on-the-job auditions, evaluating a potential hire's fit for the role prior to extending a full-time offer, otherwise known as a contract to direct hire opportunity, more and more common. So you definitely don't want to overlook those. It can be great for someone who's just trying to get some relevant work experience pretty quickly. You can really build your resume that way. 2, you should apply to as many jobs as possible. Target your search. It's true you shouldn't pass up an opportunity you feel right is for you, but applying for opportunities you have little true interest in or that have requirements you clearly cannot meet is a waste of time, yours and the hiring managers. Focus on positions that spark your interest and match your qualifications, then customize your application materials to show why you deserve strong consideration. Not to mention it's easier to keep track of the jobs you apply to that way. Number 3, your skills are top-notch. Any company would want to hire you. Unfortunately, you may not be as marketable as you think. Take an honest look at your qualifications to determine how in demand you really are. Keep in mind that your marketability depends on many, many things, including factors that may be out of your hands. For instance, you may live in a part of the country where other individuals with similar experience also are looking for employment. Of course, there are some factors you can control. Enrolling in a class or seminar can help build skills employers seek. Industry publications, members of your professional network, and recruiters can help you determine your weaknesses and identify ways of strengthening those areas. That's definitely what we're here for. Okay, now I'd like to turn our attention to the first step in the job search process, and that would be finding jobs. The first place most people look for jobs are on the job boards. You've all used them, I'm sure, but have you used them as effectively as possible would be the question. Here are some tips for getting most out of them. Be sure to cast a wide net. Major job boards remain popular starting points because of the sheer volume of positions and postings they contain. But don't limit your search to the big boards. After all, the more highly publicized the job, the more applicants you're likely to compete against, so just bear that in mind. Go back in time. Don't look at only those positions that have been posted in the last few days. An opportunity from several weeks ago might still be available, especially if the role requires a hard-to-find skill set. And many job candidates overlook those postings, reducing the amount of competition you may face. Also, you want to post your resume selectively. Recruiters will search for resumes on job boards, so it may be worth posting yours, but keep in mind that if you are currently employed, your employer could spot your resume too, and you definitely don't want that. Finding a job through social media. Some of you may also have used social media to identify job openings. LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter have quickly become valuable resources for candidates. Each social media platform offers unique advantages. For example, LinkedIn is devoted to professional connections. You can use the site to alert your network of your quest for employment and identify individuals who will work at the target firms you are looking at. LinkedIn also allows users to search job offers that are posted to the site. Definitely a great resource. Facebook isn't just for keeping up with your family and friends. Job seekers are increasingly using Facebook, the website, to network with other professionals, learn about employers, and identify job leads. Some apps allow Facebook users to see where friends work and see jobs at their companies. And many companies have dedicated Twitter feeds that promote their career opportunities as well. You can follow employees at firms you're targeting and even connect directly with recruiters there. Here are some general tips for incorporating social media into your search. These are most applicable if you can use your account for professional purposes only. In fact, you may want to create separate accounts on Facebook and Twitter for this reason. Complete your profile. A completed profile includes a professional photo, which will help recruiters find you. Be sure to use relevant keywords, which can increase your chances of showing up in their searches. Become a fan. Liking a company's Facebook page or following their Twitter feed allows you to track updates and interact with the firm. Be sure to join groups. LinkedIn and Facebook both feature groups of individuals who share the same interests, hobbies, or profession. If you join a group, stay active and involved. Add comments, ask questions of others, and offer your assistance when appropriate. Definitely won't hurt your search to do those things. Monitor status updates. Keep tabs on your contacts' status updates to see who among them may be maybe in the job market or need some career advice. Paying it forward is a great way to build goodwill. You never know when you might need the person's assistance in the future. Be aware. If you're currently employed, be smart about how you use social media. Your activity, for example, updating your profile after weeks of inactivity Adding a host of new connections or changing your contact settings can indicate to your employer that you're looking for a new job. Instead, be an active participant whether or not you're seeking new employment. This way, you can make great connections without arousing suspicion when you're ready to make that leap. At the very least, set your account so that your changes to your profile are not broadcast to all of your connections. In addition to job boards and social media, consider these other online sources of job leads. We have specialized sites. Targeted job boards exist for professionals in nearly every field, demographic, and geographic area. For example, retirementjobs.com is a good resource for experienced seekers. Aggregators. Sites like Indeed and Simply Hired pull job listings from a variety of job boards. Staffing firms. Their websites often feature a wide variety of jobs specific to your industry and location. Of course, you have corporate websites. These can be especially beneficial if you are targeting certain firms because you can usually learn specifics about their corporate culture, perks, and other details about working there. Industry associations. Some groups post job opportunities exclusive to their memberships. That could be a good resource as well. Working with a recruiter is another great way to improve your odds of finding a desirable position. For example, a recruiter can help you stand out. These professionals often can get your resume in front of an employer whose attention you might not be able to attract on your own. You can get an inside track by being represented by a firm that has well-established relationships with companies you want to work for. A recruiter also has a keen grasp on who's hiring and what they're looking for. And perhaps the most important benefit, a recruiter will tell you the truth about your weaknesses and help you improve them. If you do decide to work with a recruiter, look for one that specializes in your industry. That person is better able to understand the types of opportunities you seek and how to market your skills. Networking. One last job hunting tactic is definitely networking. It's one of the most effective ways to identify job leads, especially those that are not being advertised widely. So if you don't network regularly, you should start. If you're already a pretty good networker, do it even more frequently and expansively. All it really takes is a little organization and commitment. The more personal your approach, the higher your chance of success. This means picking up the phone and asking someone for help. Don't just send out a broadcast email asking your contacts for assistance. It's definitely not the way you want to go. Networking should be an ongoing process. It can take a little time. The best networkers stay in touch with their contacts and are always on the lookout for new people to meet. They actively network whether they're currently employed or not. Also keep in mind that it's not all about what your network can do for you. If you don't offer your advice or connections to your contacts, they aren't going to be very motivated to help you. So remember to add value when you can, or to help someone out or pay it forward when you can, just to strengthen that network. I want to talk a little more about online networking because it is becoming a primary method of reaching out to contacts. Note that online networking is different than online job hunting. Although online networking can help you find employment, the primary goal is to make connections. Even if you don't start off with a huge network, you can quickly expand it with today's technology. You can even see who you are linked to and can ask them for introductions to people they know. Here are some additional tips for you to use that I think could be helpful for you. Make the connection clear. Blind requests to connect are often turned down. So make it clear who you are and why you wish to establish a connection at that time. Send personal requests. Send personalized endorsement requests to people who best know the workplace you and take the time to tell them why their opinion matters. They're more likely to respond to this approach than a mass email or generic email. Don't be a pest. When you need assistance, don't bombard your contacts with constant requests. Carefully and selectively choose who you'll reach out to. Also, try to be the person in your network who lends a hand without being asked. Again, giving back and adding value as much as possible. Remain active. Keep an active presence on the online networks you frequent. Maintain contact with your connections through regular messages and emails. If people stop seeing posts from you or don't hear from you in a while, they may forget about you entirely. So it's important to stay top of mind. Okay, so we've talked about networking. I'd like to take a moment to switch gears and talk about the resume. We've covered a lot of information already, I realize this. So let's give our brains a rest just for a moment and enjoy real-life resume mistakes on screen. These examples, which we call Resumania, are collected from actual resumes, believe it or not, that our staffing professionals receive or come across. I'm not kidding. So relevant experience, hotel staff member acted as a liaison between special groups and the hotel. Ouch, that has to hurt. Accomplishments, have received 3 marriage proposals. That's a good one, and probably not something you'd want to include on a resume. Qualifications, my mom swears that I am fun and funny. Another funny one, yeah, probably don't want to include things that your mom or dad say about you on your resume, and with that, I would take that to the interview itself and probably not comment on things that your mom and dad told you to say in the interview. Side note, it does happen, believe it or not. Professional goal, I want the job, but I don't want to have to interview for it. Well, I guess they're being honest. References vary, whoever that may be. So kind of funny, but those are all real examples of what we have seen on resumes, and I can tell you many, many other stories of things that I've seen myself. So just keep that in mind. That is kind of funny and wanted to share it with you. Go to the next slide. With that, I'd like to talk about getting the resume right. So we've seen some mistakes not to make. Let's talk about what we can do to improve our resume. Everyone here is no doubt familiar with a resume. The purpose of this document is to get you an interview, pure and simple. Your challenge is to make an immediate and positive impression. Remember, these hiring managers have a lot on their plates and don't have a lot of time. So you want to make that good first impression as quickly as possible with your resume. Here's how. Craft multiple tailored resumes. For each position you target, create a resume that shows how your skills and experience can meet the needs of the employer. This might mean emphasizing certain abilities, downplaying previous jobs, or altering the order of the information you present. So be mindful of that. Think at a glance format. Use mostly bullets with just a few words next to each. Plenty of white space and a consistent font size and style, and direct language. Crazy colors, graphics, and other embellishments can work against you. This is important. You know, you don't want to use paragraph form, large blocks of type people tend to skip over. Just keep it simple. Don't go overboard. Your resume doesn't have to be a single page, but keep it as concise as you can. The best rule of thumb, allow the breadth and depth of your experience to dictate the resume length. Just keep that in mind. Don't embellish the truth. If you lie about any aspect of your background, you'll likely get caught. Even if you stretch the truth just a little, it's still a lie. If you're hired based on misinformation, it can lead to your dismissal. Use keywords. Keywords are terms you pull directly from the job description. They include skills, position titles, and requirements for the role. Hiring managers and any software they use to evaluate resumes will be looking for these phrases. So be sure to incorporate them into your resume. For example, if the job posting seeks a candidate with outstanding interpersonal skills, use that exact phrase in your resume. One thing I cannot stress enough, review, review, review. Be sure to proofread your resume carefully. Just one typo or misspelling can tell employers you're not detail-oriented and eliminate you from contention. Funny story about that. I had a QA manager I used to work with, and that was his big thing. If he's looking for QA analysts or testers, there should never be a typo in the resume, in his opinion, because that showed their quality or lack thereof. And so that was a big thing for him. So I'm sure he's not the only one out there that feels that way. 63% of executives polled by our company said it takes just 1 or 2 errors in a resume to remove a candidate from consideration. So something to think about. It really, really does matter. In your resume, you need to quickly and clearly demonstrate what makes you stand out. In other words, you must convey your unique value proposition. You can do this by focusing on specific accomplishments that benefited your last employer. Consider these results-oriented statements car stories. That is, you describe a challenge you faced, the action you took, and its positive resolution. Might be a different way of thinking, but definitely can give you some results that you're looking for. Here's an example. Redesign the monthly financial close, reducing time to close process from 1 week to 2 days. As you can see, there's an example and a quantifiable result there where they save time or money. And saving time or money is something that you want to highlight as many times as possible in your interview. When developing CAR statements, think about how you added value. Maybe you reduce costs, streamline a process to save time and increase efficiency or improve sales. And try to quantify your accomplishments with specific numbers. This is a good reason to track the results you achieve throughout your career, not just when you are looking for work. Being able to quantify your achievements can help you demonstrate your value during performance reviews and when you're up against, or you're up for, I should say, a raise or promotion. So there are resumes out there that are very strong, and those resumes tend to have that in common. They tend to have those statements throughout. So please bear that in mind if you're looking for positive results in your search, which I'd assume you would be. Once you finish your resume, sit down and create one more document, the cover letter. Because the job application process has increasingly moved online, some job seekers think the cover letter has outlived its usefulness, but that is not true. In a Robert Half survey, 91% of executives said cover letters are valuable when evaluating job candidates. It's simple enough to do. When applying for a position electronically, paste your cover letter into the body of an email message you send to the hiring manager or into the appropriate space on online application. Keep in mind, though, that not all online job services will allow you to take this step. But when there is that opportunity, you definitely want to do that. Once you've submitted your resume, be sure to follow up. If you're hesitant to contact a prospective employer after submitting your resume, you should not be. In a survey by our company, 8 in 10 hiring managers encourage candidates to follow up by email or phone within 2 weeks of applying for a job. Only 1% of respondents said applicants should not contact the employer. Something to think about. I think a lot of people probably don't take that step. If your resume is successful, the next step may be a telephone interview. These have become more common as a tool for whittling down candidates, especially when hiring managers have a large number of applicants who look similar on paper. A phone interview can seem like a casual discussion, but you should treat it with the utmost importance. Performing well can lead to an in-person interview. One small misstep could take you out of the running entirely, so just please keep that in mind. But have no fear. I have some steps for you to help you succeed during a phone interview. So you'll want to be prepared. You may not always know in advance when a hiring manager will call. Keep a list of the job posts you've responded to, details about the companies and the hiring manager's names if you have them near your phone. Do your homework. Prepare for a phone interview as diligently as you would for an in-person meeting. Anticipate the types of questions you might be asked and think about key points you want to convey. Set the stage. Take the call in a quiet room and use a landline. Use a cell phone only if you have no other option and can be confident you'll receive a strong signal throughout the conversation. Get your message across. The hiring manager won't be able to pick up on your facial expressions or body language, so try smiling when you talk to give your voice a friendly and enthusiastic lift. Also, pay attention to your tone because subtle inflections can play a big role in the messages that you're sending, so you do want to keep that in mind as well. Know the next step. As the conversation wraps up, thank the interviewer. If the hiring manager doesn't suggest an in-person meeting, inquire about how the company plans to proceed. Asking for next steps is really an important part of the process. Now, let's talk about the main event. When it comes to the in-person interview, it is essential to understand the main hiring considerations from your interviewer's perspective. These include, can you do the job? Interviewers want to know if you have the ability to handle the basic responsibilities of the job. They're interested in the skills you have and your previous work experience. They also want to assess whether you'll perform well in the position. Do you really want the job? Companies want to hire someone who is genuinely enthusiastic about the job opening. Your attitude and the questions you ask will indicate the sincerity of your interest and how motivated you are to land the job. Also, if they feel like you've done a lot of preparation, that conveys that you're interested as well. So that's something you want to consider. Will you fit in? A hiring manager wants to gain a sense of what you're really like and whether you'd fit in with the corporate culture and with others in the office. In fact, soft skills can be even more of a decisive factor than hard skills, especially when there are several well-qualified candidates. Although you want the hiring manager to see you as a good fit, remember to be yourself and let your real personality come through. Culture fit is a two-way street. You want to be comfortable where you're working as well. It's a good idea to prepare answers to standard interview questions. This will keep you from drawing a blank, digressing, leaving out important details, or otherwise flubbing your answers. Here are a few questions that come up during almost every interview. What do you know about our company? What are your strengths and weaknesses? What interests you about the job and what skills can you bring to it? What is your most significant professional accomplishment? Why did you leave your last job? What have you been doing since then? What sort of work environment brings out your best performance? They all sound kind of cliche, but you would be surprised how many times you get those questions. So you definitely want to be prepared for some of those basic questions. As you prepare your answers, remember to focus on your skills and experience that relate most directly to the open position. Believe it or not, confidence is key here, but you don't want to take it too far. Boasting about your abilities, like for example, I was the best worker my previous employer ever had, is a good way to appear arrogant and come across as someone who might have difficulty collaborating with others. You certainly don't want that. Above all, be yourself. An employer wants to feel like they're getting to know a real person, one they'd be happy to see every morning in the office. Don't try to guess what the interviewer wants to hear. What employers most want is to hear the real you. One last point to keep in mind when you answer interview questions is watch your body language. A good portion of the message you send is conveyed not by the words you use, but by your physical actions. For example, a weak handshake, poor posture, and downward gaze all convey a lack of self-assuredness. Crossing your arms can make you appear hostile, defensive, or disinterested, while constant nodding or foot tapping could signify nervousness. On the flip side, wearing an enthusiastic smile and making eye contact are effective ways to ensure you come across as affable and engaged. Keep this in mind, that the interview is a chance for you to learn more about the company and determine if the position is right for you. Asking smart questions can even impress the hiring manager by reinforcing your interest in the job and proving that you've done your research. Ask questions about the firm's goals, future prospects, and corporate culture. You might even ask about the hiring manager's own career which also shows your genuine interest in the company. Here are some questions to consider. Is there room for growth and advancement? What happened to the person who previously held this role? Why did you choose to work here? What keeps you here? That can give you a lot of insight. What is the company's long-term outlook? Keep this in mind. The interview is your chance to learn more about the company and determine if the position is right for you. Oh, forgive me here. I think I'm on the wrong slide. Sorry, give me 1 second here. Okay, here we go. Dressing for success. Now let's talk about another important part of preparation, dressing for the interview. The interview is like an audition for the job, so make sure you dress the part of a well-groomed professional. Here are some tips. Choose an outfit that fits well and flatters you. It should be comfortable but not too casual, and make sure your shoes are in good condition. Seriously, clean, polished, well-heeled. It is a small detail, but it is the kind of detail that does make a big difference. When you are selecting your outfit, avoid loud patterns, mismatched items, large jewelry, and whimsical, distracting accessories. Try to keep it simple. Truly. Avoid anything torn, faded, or inappropriate for professional setting. This means no t-shirts, no jeans, sneakers, or flip-flops. Women who choose to wear a skirt should opt for a knee length, conservative style, nothing clingy or sheer. For men, a suit and tie is always appropriate. Just make sure the tie is understated. When in doubt, always dress up. Unless you wear a tuxedo or coat with tails, it's highly unlikely that you'll be overdressed. So just keep that in mind. This is your first impression, and you want to make the best one you can. If you receive a job offer, it can be tricky to know how to handle salary negotiations. First off, it's okay to negotiate. Many candidates hesitate to do so, especially if they've been on the job hunt for some time. But it is part of the process, and believe it or not, many employers actually expect some back and forth. Here are some tips for handling negotiations. Arm yourself with data. The strongest negotiators are well-informed negotiators. So gather data from sources such as our annual salary guide, which by the way you can access on our website, to make sure your request is in line with the going rate in the market. Perk up. Many elements of the compensation package can be negotiated, including bonuses, vacation time, and even remote work options. A generous benefits package and improved work-life balance may make up for lower pay. And sometimes that's worth it. Remain pleasant. Hard-nosed approach is rarely effective. Don't issue ultimatums or take an even slightly adversarial tone. Don't threaten to walk away if your demands are not met. You definitely don't want to start your professional relationship on that foot. Never bluff. Don't claim to have made a more lucrative, or don't claim to have a more lucrative offer from a competing firm if you do not. More than a few job candidates have had their misguided bluffs called and ended up with nothing, and you definitely don't want that to happen to you. Know when to quit. If you volleyed with the company a few times and end up getting what you've asked for, don't change your demands just to see what else you can squeeze out of them. When hiring managers make a reference to the final offer, take them at their word. Don't push them too far. Whatever you do, don't take the same approach as this guy. Whoops, let's see. I'm sorry. I wanted to try to play a video, but I don't know if I'm able to do that. Sorry, guys. It's not working very well. But I can tell you this. We do have some of these videos on our website, this Don't Let This Happen to You series. If you go to roberthalf.com/bloopers. Sorry about that, but definitely check that out if you'd like to do that. I would like to start by wrapping up by talking about what you do if you don't get the job. The truth is that you may have to interview with several firms before you receive an offer. Whatever you do, don't let that get you down. Here's how you can fend off frustration. Ask why. If you've interviewed for a job but you were turned down, follow up and ask why you didn't land the position. Don't try to convince the interviewer he or she made a mistake by not hiring you. Rather, solicit constructive criticism that can help you refine your approach. It's okay to revisit old possibilities. Consider reaching out to firms you contacted earlier in your search to express your continued interest and to find out if any new openings exist. You never know, and you'll never know unless you ask. Take classes or workshops. Take a class to build capabilities in a new area. Or maybe you've noticed a skill requirement that you don't have that keeps popping up on the job descriptions that interest you. Also, take a temporary job. We've talked about this. Not only can temporary jobs help you build new skills, you also will be able to meet new people who could serve as valuable contacts down the road. And a temporary engagement may very well lead to full-time employment. Most importantly, everybody, relax. Take respites to keep your spirits and energy level high. It's important. Stress can feed on itself, so make time for enjoyable pursuits. Let's end things on a fun note. Every job candidate wants to get noticed, and some will go to great lengths. In a recent survey, we asked executives to recount the most unusual thing they have seen or heard an applicant do to stand out from the crowd. Here are some of their responses. I remember someone had his resume delivered in a pizza box. It's definitely a great way to get them to remember you. We've received a resume made into a paper airplane. Another one. Someone stood outside our building from 9 to 5 every day for a month until he was hired. It worked. Talk about being persistent. I remember a job candidate bringing in milk and cookies. Hey, bribery with milk and cookies would always work for me. So just a couple of things there. It's funny because those are all real. Definitely creative. I will give them credit for that. With that, I just want to thank everyone for joining me today. I hope this information and suggestions I presented will be useful in your job search, and I certainly wish you all the best of luck in your search. Thanks again for your time.
Hilary, thank you very much. Again, this has been part of the professional development series from the IIT Alumni Association. We're calling this Hawk Talk. I'm going to show you on my screen now the website where you can see not only this presentation will be archived here, but you can see the 10 others that we've done throughout the year. So I would encourage you to use this as a resource as you look to grow as a professional or look to enhance your career or find that next job. With that, we're going to sign off for today. Do appreciate your time. Hopefully it was worth your effort. Thank you. And Hilary, thank you again.
I appreciate it. Have a great one.